Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. So this evening we're going to have a look at a 143 scale model of a Fiat 508C Balilla motor car. So let's have a chat about this car. The Fiat 508, a small introduction, and in the meantime I will currently change cars round and then we'll get into the detail. So here we go. 1 and 2. There we are. The Fiat 508C Balilla was the final development of the Fiat 508 Balilla, which was in production from, just a second, I don't remember my dates, from 1932 to 1939. And it started with a 3-speed gear, which was then we called the Fiat 508. Then there was a 508B, which had 4-speed gear and a slightly more aerodynamic grille. And retroactively, the 508 the Mark I was called the 508A. And eventually, in 1937, a completely new design of car came out with an aerodynamic body, very 1930s style. This was entered production in 1937, and it was kept. And then it was produced until 1939, when the new Fiat 1100 entered production, which was a very similar car, but it had a different grille, and I could even show you one of them at the end of the video. We'll just add it to the end of the video. This is a beautiful high-tech video with a presentation plinth in the form of a cardboard box. Anyway, in the background, just a second, I'll lift the camera up. We see a photograph of a Fiat 508C that I took at the Padua Classic Car Exhibition, I think in 1999. It's a very, very nice car, one of my favourite classics, and despite having been in production for only 2 years, these were quite common cars. This was already called, when it was launched in production, it was already called the Fiat 1100, despite still having the factory code Fiat 508C, because it had a 1089cc engine. So it was already above 1000 and going towards the 1100 range. And so this, we can say, is the link between the old Fiat 508 Balilla A, B, C towards the Fiat 1100, which then continued in production after the war as the Fiat 1100E, and then we continue into the various models of Fiat 1100, from the 1100-103 of the 1950s all the way to the 1100R of the late 60s, which was the very last model of Fiat 1100. I have a soft spot for the 1100. I've always liked a Fiat 1100. So back to the models now. Down we go. There we go. High tech drone, nearly drone effect, dumped back onto the table. Okay, so I have several model Fiat 508Cs, and they are, oh no, that's no use, that's rubbish. Let's just keep the normal light off, okay, perfect. Right, just get another spot, some more 40-watt bulb, that way you can admire the car better. So this and the following ones I'm going to show you are Brumm models. Brumm is an Italian company that makes die-cast model cars. There you can see the lettering Brumm underneath, Brumm, and made in Italy, 143 scale. In fact, you can see there's a ladder there, because in Italian, scale is scala. So scala 1,43, and so instead of writing scala, they just put a ladder, because ladder, you say it scala. That's a curiosity, a linguistic curiosity for you. So this is a two-tone dark red. I know that I think Norev make a very similar model, I think, because a friend of mine has one, but this is the Brumm version that I have. So it has a Milan number plate. They all have the same registration plate. Milan number plate. Under here there should be 2 red lights, but they've not been picked out. I'm going to have to improve these. and we can see that the car, in this specific model here, has white wall tires. Now we'll go back to the first, we'll actually go through my collection of cars as we explain the video. In the post that advertised this video, which I posted yesterday, I had shown a different one. I had shown here it comes, the fire service Fiat 508C Balilla. So this is a model of a fire service staff car, complete with a floodlight on top. The Italian fire service, national fire service, was fire service in Italy was right now. I didn't take notes about this. Sorry, I'll have to make another video on Italian fire service. I will. The Italian fire service was nationalized in the 1930s as Corpo Nazionale dei Vigili del Fuoco, so National Fire Brigade Corps, and by amalgamating the various municipal fire services that were in the country. It was a militarized unit. Now it's a civil organization. Since the 1980s, it was a militarized unit with military ranks, and at the time they even did they were even equipped with firearms because they could use it as a militia, exactly like the French, oh pardon, my French is not very good, sapeur-pompier, or the Romanian pompieri militari. In Romania, the fire brigade is a military unit, and they also, on certain specific occasions, of course not when they're carrying out their fire duties, they also carry and practice firearms. So this is a curiosity about as we can see, being a fire service car, it has a small, the white number plate. It should be white with black and red lettering, registration plate at the front. Unlike the other, let me see another one. Let's take the taxi, for example. The taxi, you can see it has a black number plate. Italian registration plates between the 1924 and 1977 were square. Now 1976, sorry, were black with white letters, and the rear plates were always square. There were no rectangular plates. Rectangular plates became available starting from 1976 with the new, still white letters on a black background, but with the orange provincial registration letters at the front, which remained in use until 1994, if I'm not wrong. Okay, I remember when there was a changeover to the currently alphanumerical registration plates of 2 letters, 3 figures, and 2 letters. So that's a small digression on Italian registration plates. So this, let's go back to the fire service model. Here we go. Very nice model. Here at the side it says Servizio Prevenzione, so fire prevention service. So it would be a kind of car that would have got a staff car to go around and check in warehouses and blocks at everything, or offices, that all the fire extinguishers were in regular, in good condition, and so on. I also did a fire extinguishing training when I was doing military service here in Italy. I learnt all the different types of fire extinguisher and hoses and things, and we did fire training as well when I was in the army. Because of course the first response would have been by the guards in our barracks, and then we would have called the civilian fire brigade. As you can see, this model is lacking its rear number plate. I bought this second hand, so it has a couple of jobs we have to do on it. First of all, I'll have to make a new number plate, and I'll make that out of styrene, and I'll also print a registration plate. I'll find the photographs on internet of this model to get the right. Italian fire brigade vehicles have a VF registration for Vigili del Fuoco, with a consecutive number. Nowadays it's alphanumerical and so on, but it's still VF because The official term for firemen in Italian is vigili del fuoco, meaning fire guards, because they are the guards that take care and put out the fire. Then, of course, we generally also use the normal conversational term of pompieri, which is very similar to pompier in French, pompieri in Romanian, bomberos in Spanish, etc., 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 because they work pumps. So this is missing, and I'm just going to measure the size, because the size of the plate is exactly the same as the civilian one. So we'll just get the dimension, the overall dimension of this, make it in white styrene, replicate this, and then I'll print decals on decal paper that I can print in my laser printer. Laser printer. The only problem is that my laser printer is black and white, so I will then have to color the VF lettering at the beginning with red paint and ink. I'll try and see what I can do. Of course, it would be good to have a color laser printer, but at the moment, no. We'll have to just put up with what we've got. So, another small job that has to be done on this model is that here you can see this bumper is slightly detached. So I'm just going to have to put that in position, in its proper position, and put a spot of PVA glue right there. So this is what will have to be done, a spot of PVA to hold that in position. And when I bought this, why did I buy this model? Because I had such a model when I was a kid. In fact, I still have it. It's this. Here it is. This is that model in its current guise. In fact, you can see that underneath is red. So this model was heavily played with, very heavily played with, and I restored this in 1993, one of the last modeling jobs I did, sort of making a sort of wartime car with white painted wings. I exaggerated, there's too much white here, generally didn't paint the whole mudguards white. And this is Humbrol paint, actually came quite well, quite decent. And I glued on a couple of headlamps from a destroyed, I think it was a Matchbox Citroën Traction Avant Légère model kit that had gone destroyed. I'd built it when I was a kid and glued it together with Yoo-hoo glue. Ugh, dreadful. And I glued one of those headlamps, properly masked, hooded, because it was wartime. And when I actually took this out of the bag, I brought this back from my parents' house, I was handling it this summer, this headlamp fell off, and it must be somewhere under the desk. So I'll have to do some tidying in here. This room is going to be completely changed, and it'll eventually reappear and it will get glued on, and we'll do something with this. This is definitely going to... It doesn't even have the original steering wheel inside. It has a larger diameter grey plastic steering wheel of a destroyed Kubelwagen model kit that I built, still with dreadful Yoo-hoo glue, when I was a kid. And but you never throw away things, you always try and keep things going. So that's this is what this model looked like, and so I'm very pleased to have got this model again. And it's a nice, because I always regretted having abused it when I was a kid. Generally, I was always very careful with my things, but these were more models than toys, even if they're very sturdy. The metal part is very sturdy, but they've got these flimsy plastic bumpers and things, so that was a good find on Vinted, very cheap. So let's move on to the taxi. Fiat 508C taxi. Specifically, it's a Milan taxi because it's got the coat of arms of the city of Milan on the side, and this red and white stripe, which also identifies Milan. This is also, I also bought this model, this taxi. This is absolutely perfect. The only thing that was missing here was this small triangle. Let's see if you can see it, because the light isn't very good. Yes, okay, let's sort of shine the torch. Let's have the lamp a bit better here, like that. there's this small triangular taxi. This was the taxi badge on top, and this was missing. This was broken off, and I remade this, rebuilt it using styrene. I think it's 0.33 millimeter styrene, and I made a little hole in the middle because it has a hole in the center with the needle. Using that needle I always use with heated needle, the chemistry laboratory needle. And so this is practically back in service. This car here, you can see, also was fitted with a cloth roof. Being a taxi, it was useful because you maybe roll the roof back and bulky things could stick out of the top of the car. And I also got this taxi this year second hand because I had previously had a taxi. There you go. This is my original taxi of when I was a kid, and it's not in very happy condition. This has really been through the wars, and I've always wanted to fix it up and restore it. So eventually, I got a new Brumm taxi, and I'll see what to do with this one here. I might simply keep it as it is, maybe weather it more, and we could have this as a sort of scrapped taxi. That would be an idea, because it's really, I also cannibalized parts for this car, this one. We'll see. I think this here might very well remain as a scrapped taxi, but it still has its original registration plate at the back. So if I ever come across another Fiat 508C Balilla on my second-hand model purchasing sprees, and if it's missing the rear number plate, I could actually fit that, take that off and use it on, but in fact I could just put it on this car here. I'll put it on this one. I'll have to restore this and I'll just transfer the number plate on here. Of course the registration plates are always the same, so they're all the same number plate, Milan 85975. If I wanted, I could even make such a thing. It's easy enough. You can make using if you want to make decals for and white styrene, you make the plate in white. You just cut out the size of the plate dimension in white styrene. Then you print using Publisher on a computer. You write out a registration plate with a black background and white letters, and you print it out on your decal paper, on your decal sheets, and when you apply it to the white styrene, you'll get the white writing, and that's absolutely perfect. So this is a good idea. I'll probably recycle it for this one here. I might make a wartime. I could make a wartime Fiat 508. The blue paint's actually good, so I might keep the blue paint, seeing it's also Humbrol and it's solvent based. It's very good quality, so that's the main idea. This is a project that we'll be actually doing together and seeing on video, and so I definitely think that the other taxi is going to be a scrapline taxi. Pity it's missing this headlamp completely, but I was sure. Let's see, wait a minute, maybe the headlamp's inside. No, there's an axle. I was hoping there would be a headlamp in there, but there is no such. Oh no, we're lucky boys, we're lucky. Here they are. Here's a headlamp, so we're okay. We actually have the headlamp. So this is a properly proportioned headlamp. So I might manage to do quite a good job. I'm thinking. I've got my thinking hat on. We'll see what to do. We might actually make, excuse me, there's a bit of chaos here. I'm thinking and filming at the same time. We might make definitely two cars out of one using this chassis and mudguards and this body, which is in better condition. Anyway, so that's just a quick chat on the Fiat 508C Balilla and the models. My varied by conditions. Let's not lose that. help. We don't want to lose that headlamp, otherwise I keep losing these things around this house, and it's not a good idea. Very small part. Let's just stick that in there. Okay, we'll pick it up at the end of the video. Ah, there it is. Righto. And it's got a life of its own. Righto, and we'll just finish off, I think, with the civilian maroon and black Fiat 508C Balilla in perfect condition. I got this one here still when I was slightly bigger. I think I got this when I was towards more or less 10, 11. I'd stopped playing heavily with things, and I was always very, very careful with it, so it's in perfect condition. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. This was just a chat and presentation and something different. So 143 scale model cars. And I think I'll just top it up, finish off on the photos of the real thing, the Fiat 508C Balilla at the fair in Padua in 1999. What a beautiful car. So if you like the video, you can give it a like. If you subscribe to the channel, it's very useful. And also click the notification bell. And cheerio, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.